Quarter to 7 in the morning. A concrete apartment building in Kochi, southern Japan. Second floor. A woman of 88 stands at a gas stove with two burners. Two. Not four, not six. Two. Her left hand lifts the lid off a pot of miso broth. Her right stirs with a wooden ladle worn thin on one side from decades of the same slow circle. Next to the stove, 3 spring onions she sliced 2 minutes ago. The knife is still out, the scraps are already in a compost bowl. She has cooked her own breakfast every morning for 63 years, and she will cook dinner tonight. Same stove, same 2 burners. Have you ever asked yourself why she still cooks? Not what she cooks. Why she still can. Most people assume it comes down to the food itself. The fish, the seaweed, the green tea, some secret ingredient the rest of the world missed. But spend a morning in her kitchen and you'll notice something else. The kitchen is small, the fridge is half the width of yours, the pantry is one shelf, the counter holds exactly what she needs and nothing more. Her kitchen never outgrew her. Japan's life expectancy sits around 84 years, among the highest anywhere on Earth. The country counts more than 90,000 people over 100. And in places like Okinawa, one of the original blue zones, seniors cook their own food well into their 80s and 90s. Not because they are extraordinary, because their kitchens are ordinary. Small, simple, unchanged. This is 10 everyday food habits that keep Japanese seniors at the stove at 85. None of them require a new recipe. Most of them cost nothing. And the first one is already in front of you. 1. The 2-burner kitchen. The stove that keeps you cooking by staying small. Walk into most Japanese kitchens, and the first thing you notice is what isn't there. No kitchen island, no double oven, no 6-burner range with a hood the size of a car engine. 2 burners, a cutting board, and a sink. That's it. Meanwhile, the average American kitchen has more counter space than a Japanese apartment has floor space. And somehow, we still end up ordering takeout because cooking feels like too much. Here's the thing. A smaller kitchen means fewer decisions. 1 pot of soup on the left, rice on the right. You don't plan a meal. You just stand there and make it. The woman in Kochi doesn't think about what to cook for breakfast. The stove only holds 2 things, so she cooks 2 things. She has done it so many times, her hands finish before her mind starts. Tomorrow morning, look at your stove, count the burners you actually use. If the answer is 2, you already have a Japanese kitchen. You just haven't noticed yet. The stove decides how much you cook. But there's something else that decides what you cook, and it might matter even more. 2. The same 10 meals. Repeat what works, forget the rest. In a farmhouse outside Kyoto, a couple in their early 80s eat dinner. Grilled fish, pickled radish, rice, miso soup. Tomorrow night it will be simmered vegetables with tofu, rice, and miso soup. The night after that, a small omelet, rice, and miso soup. They have been rotating through roughly 10 meals for over 40 years. No cookbooks on the shelf, no recipe apps on a phone they don't own. Compare that to the stack of unused cookbooks on your counter or the 37 saved recipes on your tablet you've tried exactly once. And here's the quiet part. Repetition isn't boring when it's been going on long enough. It's calming. Their hands know the timing. The knife finds the right thickness without measuring. Dinner takes 25 minutes, not because they rush, but because nothing in the process is new. You don't need new recipes to keep cooking at 85. You need 5 or 6 you could make in your sleep, the ones your hands already know. So where does the food come from if the pantry is one shelf and the fridge is half the width of ours? 3. The daily market walk. Buy small, buy often, carry it home. 9:30 in the morning, on a side street in Naha, Okinawa, a man in his late 70s walks between 2 vegetable stalls with a cloth bag in each hand. He buys what he can carry and what he'll eat today. 2 sweet potatoes, a block of tofu, a bunch of greens. He does this every morning. The bags weigh maybe 4 pounds combined, and he walks 6 blocks home with them. Most of us do one big grocery run a week. Load the car, unload the car, and still find a bag of spinach liquefying in the crisper on Thursday. He buys 2 sweet potatoes and eats them both by dinner. The walk keeps his legs working, the bags keep his grip strong, and the fridge never holds more than it should. But here's what happens when those 2 sweet potatoes reach the table. The bowl they land in changes everything. 4. Small vessels, small portions. Let the plate do the math. Noon in a kitchen in Osaka. A woman sets a tray on a low table, 6 small dishes, a bowl of rice that would fit in your cupped hand, a saucer of pickled cucumber, a square plate with 2 slices of grilled fish, a tiny cup of simmered greens, a shallow bowl of miso soup, a glass of cold barley tea. That's lunch. Every dish would fit in your palm. Nobody weighed anything. Nobody counted a calorie. The portion was set the moment she picked up the bowl because the bowl is small. Americans eat off dinner plates the size of a hubcap and then wonder why the portion got away from them. A rice bowl holds exactly 1 serving of rice. A teacup holds exactly 1 cup of tea. The decision was made 50 years ago when someone bought that bowl, and nobody has had to make it since. Tomorrow, try this. Serve dinner in the smallest bowls you own. You'll eat less without deciding to eat less. And that's the whole trick. When was the last time you looked at your kitchen counter and could see the entire surface? 5. The clear counter. Put away what you didn't use today. Late afternoon, in a kitchen in a fishing village on the coast of Shikoku. A man of 83 wipes down his counter with a damp cloth. The surface is bare, 1 knife in a block, 1 cutting board leaning against the wall, a kettle. That's it. The rice cooker sits on a shelf, not the counter. The toaster lives in a cabinet. His kitchen looks like it was cleaned for a photograph, but this is just how it looks every day. Most American counters hold a coffee maker, a toaster, a knife block, a fruit bowl, a paper towel holder, a stand mixer used twice a year, and a stack of mail that wandered in from the living room. Every one of those objects is a small vote against cooking. Together, they make the kitchen feel like a chore before you've started. Clear the counter tonight. Leave out only what you'll use in the morning. See if the kitchen feels different when you walk in at 7. You clear the counter. Now, what's the first thing you put on the stove? In Japan, the answer has been the same for generations. 6. Miso soup every morning. 1 pot, 5 minutes, the anchor of the day. 6:15 in the morning in a farmhouse kitchen in Nagano. Snow on the ground outside, a woman heats a small pot of water, drops in a handful of dried seaweed and a few cubes of tofu, and stirs in a spoonful of miso paste. 5 minutes. 1 pot. She has made this same soup every morning since her 20s. Her mother made it before her. The recipe, if you can call it a recipe, is 4 ingredients and doesn't change. What changes is what she adds. A sliced mushroom in autumn, a few leaves of spinach in spring, a beaten egg on cold mornings when her bones want something warm. Not because it's healthy, because it's easy enough that she has never once thought about skipping it. And here's a number worth sitting with. In a country of over 125 million people, miso soup is served at breakfast in roughly 75% of households. Every morning. 1 pot. A spoon of paste. 5 minutes. That's not a recipe. That's a habit so small it never became a burden. Meanwhile, most of us eat breakfast standing over the sink or not at all. But in Japan, it's not just what you eat in the morning, it's how your body moves while you eat. 7. Standing to cook, kneeling to eat. The kitchen as movement. Evening in a small apartment in Kyoto, a woman of 81 stands at the counter, slicing a cucumber. She carries a tray of small dishes to a low table, kneels down on the tatami floor, eats slowly, then stands back up to clear the plates. She does this twice a day. That's 4 trips from standing to kneeling to standing. No yoga mat, no class, just dinner. Every meal in a traditional Japanese home asks the body to do something: stand to cook, kneel to eat, rise to clear, bend to wash. The body just moves because the furniture asks it to. Most of us sit down to eat and don't stand again until the show is over. The kitchen doesn't ask anything of us, so nothing moves. They don't exercise more than we do. Their kitchens just never stopped asking. So the kitchen is small, the tools are few, the body keeps moving. But what lands on the plate in the first place? 8. Seasonal eating by default. 4 ingredients, not 40. A backyard garden in rural Shikoku, mid-October. A man in his late 70s pulls 3 daikon radishes from the dirt, shakes them off, and carries them into the kitchen. Tonight's dinner is decided, not by a recipe, not by a craving, by what came out of the ground today. In most Japanese home kitchens, the ingredient list is short because it follows the calendar. Spring means bamboo shoots, peas, new onions. Summer means cucumber, eggplant, tomatoes. Autumn means sweet potatoes, mushrooms, persimmon. Winter means daikon, cabbage, root stews. 4 or 5 ingredients per season, rotated through those same 10 meals. Compare that to the American grocery store, where you can buy strawberries in January and asparagus in November, and still end up staring at the fridge with no idea what to make. A shorter list means fewer decisions. Fewer decisions means you're still standing at the stove at 85, because cooking never felt like a project. What's in season where you live right now? Could you cook 3 meals this week from just that? So far, everything we've covered lives in the kitchen: the stove, the counter, the bowls, the pot of miso, the vegetables pulled from the garden. But the last 2 habits aren't about what happens at your stove. They're about who you cook for and why, and they might matter most of all. 9. Cooking for someone, the table that needs you there. Saturday around noon in a living room in Okinawa, 5 women in their 70s and 80s sit around a low table covered in small plates. One brought simmered pork, one made pickled bitter melon, one carried over a pot of rice. They've been meeting like this, same group roughly once a month, for over 30 years. In Okinawa, these groups are called mohai. They're lifelong circles of mutual support, and one of the things that holds them together is food. Somebody always cooks. And here's what nobody talks about when they list reasons seniors stop cooking. It's not the knees, it's not the energy. It's that one day there's no one to cook for. The table seats one, and one seat is easy to skip. These women never hit that wall. Someone is always expecting a dish. Someone is always going to notice if the plate doesn't show up. 3 of them are widows. One lives alone, and not one of them has stopped cooking, because the table still needs them. That's a reason to stand at the stove tomorrow morning and make something worth carrying across the street. Most of us lost that structure without noticing. Retirement came, the kids moved out, the table got quiet. But the fix isn't complicated. Cook for a neighbor, bring a dish to someone on Sunday. A meal made for another person is harder to skip than a meal made for yourself. And that brings us to the last one, the one that holds all the others together. 10. The recipe that never gets written down. Cooking as the thing that makes you, you. Late evening. A kitchen lit by one small light above the stove. The woman in Kochi, the one we met at the beginning, is making miso soup again. Same pot, same wooden ladle, the one worn thin on one side from 63 years of the same slow circle. Her granddaughter asked for the recipe once. She tried to write it down and couldn't. Not because her memory was fading, because the recipe was never in her head, it was in her hands. The pinch of miso paste. The moment the broth is ready, just before it boils. The angle of the ladle. 63 years of mornings made that knowledge. In Japan, there's a word for the reason you get up in the morning. It's called ikigai. You hear it connected to hobbies, to work, to grandchildren. But for millions of Japanese seniors, ikigai is the stove. It's the act of feeding themselves and the people they love, done so many times it became who they are. Take away the kitchen, and you don't just take away dinner, you take away the thing their hands have known the longest. Cooking is not a chore she held on to, it's the part of her day that still feels entirely her own. That's not discipline, that's identity. And identity doesn't retire. 10 habits, none of them new, none of them expensive. A 2-burner stove, the same 10 meals, a daily walk to the market, small bowls that set the portion, a counter with nothing on it, a pot of miso every morning, a kitchen that keeps the body moving, seasonal food from a short list, a table with someone waiting at it, and a recipe that lives in your hands, not on a page. Not one of these asks you to try harder. Not one requires a gym, a diet, a plan, or a dollar. The woman in Kochi doesn't do these things because she's disciplined. She does them because her kitchen was never designed to overwhelm her. And 63 years later, she's still standing at the stove. She's the woman we started with. 6:45, 2 burners, a wooden ladle worn thin on one side. You know why she can still cook her own breakfast at 88? You knew before I finished saying it. It was never a secret. It was just a kitchen that never got in its own way. None of this is too late. You don't need all 10. Start with 1, clear the counter tonight, make the same breakfast 3 mornings in a row. Serve dinner in a smaller bowl. Whatever is smallest, wherever your hands already know what to do, which one of these would you try tomorrow morning? Tell me in the comments. I read every one. If one of these made you think of someone who's been cooking in the same small kitchen for 40 years, send them this video. And if this was worth your time, the like button tells me to make more like it. Next time, we're stepping into a park in Osaka at 6 in the morning where people in their 80s do something together that takes 3 minutes and has kept their bodies moving since childhood. If you want that one to find you, subscribe. The light above the stove is still on. The miso is done. She turns off the burner, carries the bowl to the table, and sits down. Same bowl, same table, same morning, Tuesday.